you might not expect.
Now I'm on the floor in my living room having a nice lie down, breathing in and out. It's all part of an exercise session that might look gentle and restorative, but there is evidence this routine can boost your brain and reduce levels of the stress hormone cortisol. I'm doing yoga, and this pose, which involves lying on the floor and breathing deeply, is called Shavasana. Yoga is an ancient practice for the body and mind that can boost strength and flexibility. There are many types of yoga practices, but generally it involves physical poses, breath control, and meditation. Doing it regularly has been shown to lower chronic inflammation, which could help reduce depression and anxiety. And some exciting new research suggests it could even benefit you at the cellular level. We'll be exploring this with an expert later.
But first, let's see if daily yoga practice is something James, an ecologist who lives in Scotland, would like to try. Hello, James.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, are you somebody who's very hearty? Do you like a lot of physical activity?
Yeah, I've done loads of physical activity in the past. Loads of triathlons, played rugby, played Gaelic football. But unfortunately, as I got older and became a dad, my physical activity has kind of waned. I kind of need that little bit of a additional motivation to get me back out there.
Okay, so you're up for doing something a little bit more active.
I am, yes.
So I'm going to suggest something to you. I'd be interested to know whether you've ever tried it before. Yoga.
I can honestly say I have never tried yoga, but I've been yoga curious.
Brilliant. So what I want you to do is to go to one class this week, but also to do some practice at home, roughly 20 to 30 minutes a day. You can find beginners yoga videos online. There is some really interesting research showing that doing regular yoga can lower chronic inflammation, which is linked to heart disease and cancer, and also because doing yoga can boost your mood, which might help you with motivation and get you going in other areas of exercise and activity. So what do you think?
Sounds great. I'm up for it.
I've given James a daily dose of yoga over the next week because research shows that this mind-body intervention really does come with a wide range of health benefits. Yoga is said to have originated in India over 5,000 years ago, but it only started to become really popular worldwide towards the end of the 19th century, when developments in photography meant pictures of poses and exercises could easily spread between India and the West. There's a wealth of different variants, including Vinyasa yoga, Ashtanga yoga, hot yoga, even dog yoga. But if you are particularly interested in testing out yoga's impact on brain health, then the majority of studies have looked at Hatha yoga, which combines classic yoga poses and slow, deep breathing. A German study from 2018 compared brain scans of participants before and after 10 weeks of either Hatha yoga, playing sport, or no intervention. Impressively, the yoga group saw significant increases in the grey matter density in the hippocampus, a brain region associated with learning and memory. Yoga is also well known for its positive effect on mental well-being. In a small 2017 pilot study, participants with mild to moderate depression were randomized to either doing yoga or attending a yoga history class for 90 minutes twice a week for 8 weeks. By the end of the study, 60% of the yoga group were no longer classified as clinically depressed, compared to only 10% in the history group. Why? Well, a recent review found that yoga helps reduce levels of the stress hormone cortisol, and it regulates our sympathetic nervous system, which controls the body's stress response. These effects, along with lower levels of inflammatory markers, are thought to be the main reasons behind yoga's impact on anxiety and depression. Yoga may also boost our mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are tiny power units that live inside our cells and provide us with energy. The better they're working, the better you function. I'll be speaking to an expert about the link between yoga and mitochondria in a moment. First, though, let's check in with James.
I'm halfway through. I've done 3 classes already, 2 group classes at my local gym and 1 online.
I know Michael challenged me to do one group class, but I really enjoyed the social aspect of the class. I also feel really energized. The stretching and contracting of the muscles really gets the endorphins flowing. But the yoga also provides a side order of meditation, which I've never done before, and I found it really beneficial. Some of the poses I enjoyed was like the half pigeon pose and the downward dog. It's really helping break me out of that exercise rut that I was in. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the week.
We'll check in with James at the end of the week. Now let's speak to Professor Rima Dada from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi, who has been studying the benefits of yoga on lifestyle diseases like diabetes by looking at energy production at the cellular level. Hello, Professor Dada.
Hello.
Now, I understand you've been looking at how yoga affects the energy powerhouses of our cells, the mitochondria. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell, so they produce ATP, that is energy. And as mitochondria tend to accumulate mutations and variations, the mitochondria tend to produce less amount of ATP, and that is actually the cause of functional decline of tissues, and that's how we start to age. And through our studies, we found that yoga can actually improve the mitochondrial integrity as well as the nuclear DNA integrity. Yoga switches on gene programs which enhance DNA repair. It will decrease the oxidative stress by increasing the total antioxidant capacity. So the genes which are actually coding for the antioxidants, their expression goes up. So this is really important because if the mitochondrial integrity improves, they'll produce more ATP, more energy, and thereby you can actually slow down the functional decline of the tissues. And thus, if we can improve the mitochondrial integrity, decrease the oxidative stress and inflammation, enhance the total antioxidant capacity by yoga, we can actually delay or slow down the rate of cellular aging and thereby actually reduce our biological age.
Wow, that is fascinating. So can you tell me about the studies you've done looking at yoga in, for example, rheumatoid arthritis?
Yes, I've been working on the impact of yoga in complex lifestyle diseases. And it could be any lifestyle disease. For example, it could be diabetes, it could be coronary artery disease, hypertension, depression, cancer. All these disorders have some common underlying mechanisms like inflammation and oxidative stress. Rheumatoid arthritis is a very severe, chronic, progressive, inflammatory autoimmune arthritis. And we found that when you practice yoga, you can actually decrease the inflammation. We did these randomized controlled trials. There was a group which was doing yoga and they were given the disease modifying anti-rheumatic drugs, and there was a group that was just on the drugs. Post practice of yoga, we found that there was a decrease in the expression levels of various inflammatory cytokines. So there is decreased oxidative stress. And we find that the rate of aging of the immune cells, the T cells, goes down. And yoga helps to restore the immunological balance.
Did they also experience symptomatic relief, such as a reduction in pain or stiffness?
Yes, they had not only decrease in inflammation, decrease in pain, they could perform their day-to-day activities because the joint stiffness was reduced. And we found that there was an improvement in their quality of life and also a decrease in the severity of depression.
Why do you think yoga is having this impact?
So yoga is actually comprised of asanas, that are postures, then regulated breathing practices, that is pranayam, and then meditation. When you breathe effectively, you actually get into a meditative state. And we find that over a period of time, these individuals, they start feeling more relaxed. The cortisol levels go down, which reduces inflammation and oxidative stress. As the cortisol levels decline, we find there's an increase in the level of various factors which are promoting neuroplasticity. And it actually results in a activation of our parasympathetic nervous system, which is a system for rest, for digestion, for repair, for restoration. So the emotional resilience increases. So they're able to better handle their stress. Their severity of depression goes down. But there is also a change in the anatomy of the brain. There is increase in the gray matter and the white matter. So this is helping to build our resilience and coping mechanisms.
So in the study, how long were people doing yoga for?
They were doing it 5 days a week for an hour for 12 weeks.
Would this also be effective in people who are sort of pretty healthy but would like to get a bit healthier?
Even if healthy individuals adopt yoga into their daily lifestyle, if they do it even for 25 to 30 minutes in a day, we can actually reduce the incidence of people developing these lifestyle diseases. We would be far more healthier.
So what would you recommend to people who are listening now and who are keen to try yoga?
I would recommend that they practice yoga daily. They should learn yoga from a yoga instructor. Explain to the instructor if they have any ailments so that the asanas and breathing practices could be designed for them. And they should do the exercises, the breathing practices, and meditation, all three on a daily basis. We do not need to do complicated postures which we sometimes see in the magazines or on the television. We can do the simple ones, then followed by pranayam as well as meditation. That would be enough.
It is impressive that yoga seems to confer such widespread benefits, including boosting your mood and energy levels. For more ways to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, check out the Deep Calm series on BBC Sounds. Now, let's check in one final time with James.
That's me. I've done my week. That's 5 in-person classes and 1 online. I've had different yoga styles and different yoga instructors, and all have been brilliant. I've thoroughly enjoyed my week. I'm feeling healthier, fitter, and also calmer. I'm definitely more motivated to get back to full fitness. I'll definitely be doing more yoga. It's inspired me to sign up to other things like a Pilates for runners class and also a half marathon. So I've definitely moved from yoga curious to a yoga evangelical because it's been that good. I've thoroughly enjoyed it and I think it's beneficial.
I'm so pleased to hear James has been getting in touch with his inner yogi and is planning to stick to it. I'm currently in the garden doing a mountain pose. I do think yoga is worth trying. There are so many types to choose from. You can find a rhythm that suits you. And you don't need a lot of equipment, just some comfortable clothes and a mat, and you're ready to flow. So why not give it a go? You could reduce your stress, boost your brain, and recharge your mitochondria. Now for the warrior pose.